Hello everyone, I'm Adam Papagan. Welcome to another episode of There's a Place, the ASMR talk show, the show that feels good to hear. It's the holiday season. No matter when you are watching, know that while we are recording this, it is the holiday season. It is December. And so, I'm kind of a holiday mood, a little bit, doing all the traditional holiday stuff. No, I think there's an earthquake going on, excuse me. Hopefully the game behind me hasn't been affected, but okay, looks like the aftershocks have stopped. Yeah, just doing my Christmas stuff, so it came time to get the Christmas tree and stuff, and so I go over to my dad's house, we're decorating. And for some reason there's a big discussion about what music are we going to play. It's like Christmas music, obviously, but Pandora, they have the regular Christmas stations, and they have rock and roll Christmas, they have soulful Christmas, they have all different stuff. So I was like, all right, whatever, just pick one. So we put on the rock and roll Christmas station, and it's Jingle Bell Rock, Elvis Christmas album, or whatever. But the playlist was not, it didn't really encompass every rock and roll Christmas song from every era. So it started repeating songs. After about 25 minutes, they would repeat. So about at the third playing of Ronette's Christmas song, Sleigh Ride, I was like, hey, we already heard this song 3 times. We should change it. So I go over to the phone to change it, and I realized this song is from the 50s, and they still play it all the time, every year. Who cares if I heard it 3 times just now? I'm never going to be able to not hear this song every Christmas. So, it could have been in all Ronette's Sleigh Ride playlist. It wouldn't matter. And that's what's fun about Christmas music. It's hearing the music that is familiar, and it's all different genres that you can have that you don't normally get to hear. So, what I'm saying is, don't be so picky with your Christmas music. Be my advice to you. We have a great show tonight. I'd like to think we always have a great show, but tonight we have another expert on the field of comedy. He does the Comedy Bureau. He organizes all the listing of comedy. But before that, we have another sponsored commercial here. I ought to make a commercial to tell you that you can get one of these commercials on There's a Place for just $5. Follow, there should be a link on the bottom in the description or whatever, but follow that, hit me up. I will make you a commercial for $5, then it'll air on There's a Place every month for $5 a month, so it's fun. This is for ritual kits, and that's the great thing about doing these commercials, is I had no idea what a ritual kit was, but it's like some feathers and some incense and stuff, and you do it, and it helps you in your spiritual practice. So check out this ritual kit from J Southern Studios, and we'll be right back with the Comedy Bureau's Jake Kroeger. Folks, my guest tonight is the creator, the editor, the bureau chief, the graphic designer, the intern, he does it all, of the Comedy Bureau, indispensable resource for Los Angeles comedy. Please welcome Jake Kroeger. Hey, what's up?
Not much, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. Is the holiday season coming up?
Yeah.
So, Merry Christmas.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I didn't get you anything.
It's okay.
Thanks. You want me to open it right
Yeah,
now?
yeah, well, of course.
Okay.
I want to see the reaction. It's part of doing the nice gesture.
Right. All right. Well, here we go.
Okay.
Dude.
So these are a lot of old bow ties.
Dude, thank you.
Do you like this?
I do like this very much.
Okay.
I wish I knew about this earlier, or else I wouldn't have bought a bunch of bow ties.
Oh.
No, but this is great.
But these are old bow ties. So even if you don't wear them now, they'll continue to be old.
Yeah. I mean, in that sense, isn't everything that I buy instantly old? And getting older by the minute.
Sure, but that's true of anything. These are...
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. I was going to sell them at the yard sale, and I was like, oh, Jake. So that's actually why I wanted you on the show. You can go home now that I've given you the bow ties.
What do you want me to go?
No. Seriously. That was a joke. You should know about jokes because you are the creator of the Comedy Bureau.
That's correct.
So I've said it a million times on this show, quality to me is not so important as is intention. Why does somebody choose to dedicate their life to an artistic pursuit or a professional pursuit or something like that? So why do you bother to make a list of all the open mics and comedy shows in LA?
So people know where to go and when to get there. And then they don't have to, like I used to do in the year that I first did stand-up, and there was nothing like the Comedy Bureau. Like just drive around for hours and hours and hours and then end up just going to like a billiards hall. And some dude's like, wait, open mic? Well, we haven't had an open mic here in years. I'm so sorry, man. And then it's like 8:30, 9 o'clock. And then you can't go up anywhere. And I really, really hated that. Sure, there were some listings, but they were never, ever updated. And that really pissed me off. And that was just sort of an impetus to like go find out about more stuff. And then by proxy find out about more indie shows. And then it just kind of spiraled out of control into what it is now 7 years later.
We'll get into that journey, but see, that explains the impetus. But why are you the man for that job? Yes, there was no central list, but in other cities they don't have a centralized list of open mics.
That's starting to change, but yeah.
And do you think that you're kind of responsible for?
I mean, probably a little bit. Certainly, like I've heard the Bureau referenced outside of like people I don't know. They're like, "Oh, the LA's got this. We should do that." Or like, other cities have had attempts at like trying to list stuff and have a central resource of information of comedy, but people fall off here and there. And I think now people are a lot more on the ball. At least from where I'm standing, I'm not on the ground all over the country. I'd like to be, but that costs money. Anyhow, why am I the guy? I guess there's something in my nature that's very like stubborn and obsessive and very passionate about the things that I'm passionate about. And like, people comment to me a lot that it must be a lot of work. And I say yes, knowing full well, like, I can't really communicate how much work it really is.
Is it hard work because you're tracking down these different shows and what's up? Okay. Let me back to that question, Jake. You're doing such a good job at the ASMR that it's actually a little bit too low. We had this problem last week.
Okay.
So you could bring it up just a smidge, but
How's
again,
this?
that's really good. Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
Do I have to repeat all that other stuff?
No, it's okay.
All right, great.
A lot of people use the show to fall asleep. So hopefully they're already asleep.
I did my job.
And it's just hard not to wake them up.
Great.
Yeah, but so,
So your question was?
My question was about the amount of work this is, because this wouldn't be possible without Google and WordPress and these other technologies that are like open to people.
Yeah.
So it's, you're not, it's just a Google Calendar, right? You're not programming stuff.
No,
but you do have to enter in all that stupid nonsense.
Yeah, I have to type that in. And because comics are horribly unreliable, and I do want to emphasize the word horribly unreliable, I have to manually update it. Otherwise, it would always be wrong. And even now, something on it's probably wrong because somebody forgot to tell me something.
So do you investigate all of these open mics and comedy shows personally to make sure that they're up to the Bureau's standard, or you are simply a resource to find out about comedy?
So at the outset, sure, but nowadays, I'm still only one person, and I have other things I want to go do. And you've been to open mics, Adam. If you just keep going to only open mics, you're going to end up murdering somebody.
But not the audience.
Not the audience.
Not the audience.
Just the person on stage who is abusing their time.
Yeah.
Over and over. And it's like, that's fine, but I want to just see some growth. Any hint of growth at all. And some people, it's just like, they end up almost being what I like to call a ghost of Christmas comedy future, where like they've been doing open mics like 10, 15 years, and they haven't changed. And for anything. And it's like, what do you know that the rest of us don't know? Because you haven't ever done well. You haven't changed. And there hasn't been any sort of encouragement that would have any sane, logical person be like, I think I'll keep just doing this. And people will come around. Because it's demonstrably and objectively proven that they haven't. So...
But but you say this, but you still, like, there's a lot of people trying to be comedians.
Oh, sure.
Why are you encouraging them?
I'm not necessarily encouraging them. I'm just making
the information.
Stuff that is unnecessarily hard, easy. Comedy is very hard. And even if you know where to go, you can still feel how harsh it is, especially when you're coming up and trying to figure out what you want to do on stage. So I don't think I'm really like doing a sort of exit through the gift shop deal where I'm like encouraging people that could be either doing better stuff or they're like wasting their time. I think comedy is very good about weeding out people. Or, the people who like stick with it, yeah, maybe they suck for like 4 years, 6 years. But if they really are into it, I think for the right reasons, good reasons, whatever, or like they want to really get funny, which is probably the best reason, they'll figure it out. I'd like to hope.
You think that motivates people who only care about just being funny?
I mean...
Because I know plenty of people who don't try to be comedians who are funny. And everybody, oh yeah, that guy's pretty funny.
Yeah, but there's a big difference between being funny to your friends because they have all this like knowledge of you and they like you already without you doing anything or saying anything. There's a whole added set of obstacles when you're in a room full of strangers, and then they're there to listen to you in the hopes that you're going to make them laugh, but they didn't come there to see you specifically. So who are you? And that's where, all this subtle, like, craft comes into play of, like, how you enter the stage, how do you greet the crowd, how do you hold the mic, do you take the mic out of the mic stand or not, or, like, do you get in the audience face, do you make eye contact, like, all of that matters. I guess when you're super famous, that really doesn't matter as much, because people are there just to see you.
But usually people who are famous will know how long to hold the microphone, when to put it back into the thing. Like they have it.
It kind of just like works that way, but because like by that point, you would have figured all of that out. And that's kind of why people are seeing you, because you figured it all out and they like that, like the way that you figured it out.
Well, that's an interesting then question for somebody who has observed a lot of comedy. You know, that most communication is nonverbal, right? So your material can only take you so far.
Absolutely.
Most of what's going to make you good on stage is, your poise, the pauses you take,
Sure.
like your stuff, the eye contact with the audience or whatever. What do you think, after material, is the most important thing for a comedian to have? Material notwithstanding. Like, yeah, hopefully you're going to be funny.
Right. Probably like presence. And I mean, by presence, I think that also includes like just being comfortable on stage. Just like that whole idea of like being able to be on stage and just be fine with being there, sans material. Because from there, you can just confidently do whatever you need to do, whether that even ends up being like this sort of character that's self-defeating or self-deprecating, or like you're doing sort of an ironic meta thing where you're like intentionally telling bad jokes.
What do you think about that?
I don't
style?
There's room for it, and some people do it really well, but just like Picasso, who mastered the basics and did those exquisitely before he started breaking every fucking rule in the rule book. I'm sorry, can we curse?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Oh, okay, I didn't know.
It's the internet, baby.
Yeah. So, similarly, you should like have a sense of the craft of comedy. I'm not saying you need to take a class or you need to follow step by step of a book, but you should understand and appreciate those who came before you. Now, I'm saying you have to like it, but just know about it before you start going willy-nilly and trying to be Tim Heidecker.
But isn't everyone pretty much familiar with comedy by now?
I mean, you say that, but no. So, I do this Airbnb experience of touring through the LA comedy scene. The majority of the people I take out, I would probably say 70%, their exposure to comedy is Big Bang Theory, Netflix specials. Whose line is that anyway?
But see, there's 3 examples of mass media.
Right.
So
But they don't...
done by professional comedians.
Well, no, what I'm saying is like, so that's just sort of like a base level exposure to comedy, and then they don't really think about any of the stuff that we had just mentioned, or have any sort of take on like an ironic, like meta sort of style of comedy. They're not even aware that that is what's going on, and the idea of labeling styles of comedy outside of like observational, political, or urban is like foreign to them, which makes my job easy because I just have to explain what long form improv is and tell them kind of about the basics, at least from my standpoint. But yeah, like when you mention just even an inkling of like what a comedian goes through for a lot of these people, even though the internet has existed for a lot of time and there are so many hours of podcasts that are dedicated to discussing the craft of comedy, they still don't know, it's odd, but I mean, we are.
But they've seen The Tonight Show and they've seen somebody doing stand-up. It's not like it was in the 80s when it was exploding and exciting, or in the 60s when like you would go see a comedian and he would also sing you a song. And
Sure.
like his material might not be super sharp, but
Right.
it would at least be a show, and you'd have
Right,
dinner
well,
and you'd get drinks.
Sure, the taste may have changed, but there's I would say a good majority of the audience that just like, I mean, they may think like, oh, this is funny or this is not funny, but if I told them to write me even like 3 paragraphs of why this is specifically funny to you, I think they would have trouble. Which is, it's not to invalidate their opinion of why it's funny, but it's just like, that's sort of the separation from my world, our world, and theirs.
So still a great demand, a great thirst for comedy.
Yes.
Despite there being more than ever before. And it being easier to get than ever before.
Well, I think that has a lot to do with, because of the internet, you can be a successful niche performer, creator, producer, performer, or whatever, because somebody who lives in Anchorage, Alaska can find out about taking taro, whereas like maybe 20 years ago that wasn't true.
With the internet, you can find an audience for anything you're doing.
Right.
This show, for example, has viewers that watch it every week.
Yep.
They could be watching Stranger Things or, a big show.
Yeah, they
but
don't
we're
wanna
taking a
fall
little bit of
asleep
their
to Stranger
attention.
Things.
Yeah. So, I forget where I was going with that. Do you laugh at comedy?
Yeah.
You really think it's funny?
Have you ever seen me at a comedy show?
Yeah.
People...
I've seen it open mic. Doesn't
Right.
count.
Well, you won't see me laugh at an open mic.
Yeah.
But if you watch me at a show, people can pick me out of the room by my laugh. I laugh big. But that's to say that I laugh at things that I think are funny. And because of that, I go to shows where I have a fairly confident bet that I'm going to have a good time.
And you're going to shows 7 nights a week?
Yep.
I know that's what you say, but is that true?
Yeah, it's absolutely 100% true. I just went to a show right before I came here.
Where was it?
At the Lyric Hyperion. I watched Johnny Pemberton do a half hour, and Duncan Trussell and Kate Berlant opened for him. It was very fun.
Haven't you seen all those people like a million times?
Not a million, but I've seen them a lot. But, there are so many comedians, as you pointed out, that by the time you see all of them, but you go around again like, oh, you're doing a whole new thing. And even with that, that's just the world of stand-up, dude. There's a whole world of improv. There's a whole world of, like, sketch and clowning and podcasts.
Clowning?
Do you know about this? So clowning, or some people like to call it idiot these days, is like just a very sort of silly, often purely nonverbal, physical style of comedy. It's very fun. It's very, very like, they don't wear clown makeup or the weird ass costumes, or and it's not for kids. But like stuff like Dr. Brown or Natalie Palamides or Zach and Vigo or anything like that, it's just very like, I like to describe it this. You watch it, it's funny, you laugh, and then you say, man, that's so stupid, that's very dumb. However, a dumb or stupid person wouldn't be able to come up with it. You've been to open mics, man. You can see dumb people do comedy. It's mostly bigoted. That's what actually stupid people come up with. This requires a sort of like intrinsic understanding of comedy, and then just kind of wanting to do something that's like so absurd and dumb, but it's coming from like a very intellectual place. Like if you look at somebody like Andre Dubuchet on Conan, like he is like, what he does is so nuanced and great, but it is like so absurd and stupid and fun in like the best way.
But is it original? It seems like a lot of people, with that Reconstruction perspective on it, it's like you need to see another guy who's funny by not being funny.
Well, I wouldn't even point those people out as being, they're not even doing like a deconstructionist thing. That's even beyond that. They're
like mimes?
They're not mimes. I mean, they're just doing like gags and physical bits. It's almost kind of vaudevillian in a way, but like updated for our time. Obviously, no blackface. So, they're not deconstructionist humor, and also like everybody has like a different, even in that world, they differentiate themselves. Like, yeah, it's all silly, but they do it in their own individual way, and that is what makes them stand out and what makes them great versus like, like in stand-up, we're all talking about kind of our current issues or like whatever the world we're seeing, but if you have really figured out your voice, you'll know how to make that personal to you and then spit it out as your version of comedy.
And these people are doing that.
And in just
even if they're
way.
doing it juggling or
yeah, man,
whatever. Do you actually see jugglers out there when you're going to shows?
I saw a juggler on Sunday. Yeah.
Wow, you're really getting the art
Yeah, man.
Get-
I would say
get to the heart of the art.
funniest jugglers that I know: Scott Neary and Michael Rayner.
Let's get some jugglers on the show.
Yeah,
Weeks, I think.
it'd be very fun. It'd be fair.
I like juggling.
Huh?
I like juggling a lot.
Do you know Michael Rayner? Michael Rayner is so great. He is a guy who like did Letterman a bunch of times, and he's like he can juggle, he can balance, he can do a lot of things, but he also knows how to like do crowd work and tell jokes while he's doing all of it, which is amazing. And he also does it in a way that like he can do the same act for kids at 4 p.m. in a library, and then also repeat the same sort of show for adults at 11, and it works. And that's a rare feat, man. He's really, really great. It would be funny to have him on the show because he yells most of the time.
Well, that's not allowed on this show. I don't know how funny that would be, breaking the rules.
Sure.
But-
No. He would have to follow the rules.
Oh yeah, that would be funny.
Yeah.
You are the master, man. You gotta say. Do you get comped at like every comedy show?
Yeah. I mean,
You got your guest list because you've been now 7 years as the king of comedy, or at least the maybe not the king of delivering the comedy,
Sure.
but certainly the keeper of the comedy.
yeah. I think of it like this, like I have done that site, and I don't like charge people for publicity. All the press that people get is for free, and so I would hope at the very least that like if I'm plugging your show, you would let me in for free, and people are more than on board for that. And a lot of the shows I go to are free anyway.
That's the thing too. Here in LA, you can see a top level comedian for free any night of the week.
Yeah, that's why. So when it comes to something like Largo, where tickets are $30, $50, sometimes $100, people that go to that, it's not necessarily about the talent entirely. They like being in Beverly Hills. They like being near the Beverly Center and having like valet parking and assigned seat. They like all of that versus, just like, oh wait, where I have to walk through an alley by some railroad tracks and there's like a AA meeting in the front? What is this? They like that's what they're paying for,
A night out.
A night out versus like a sort of adventure that might lead anywhere. I don't know. But that being said, like, I'm not gonna go to a benefit show and like expect to get comped, because I think that defeats the purpose. So if there's like a great benefit show, I just won't go. But yeah, otherwise, like, for so long I made so little money. Like, it was for years and years and years. I kept thinking in the back of my head, this is like financially very dumb for me to do. But whenever I really loved doing it, and I thought that at some point, like kind of like it is now, it would start paying off. That I just couldn't afford to like spend any money on shows. Because going out 7 nights a week, it would just add up so much.
You're getting comped though. That's got to be the social aspects of doing this site.
Mm-hmm.
Got to be. You've got to paid for your time, right?
Yeah.
Like I noticed, you have 4,242 Facebook friends.
Mm-hmm.
That's almost the most you can have. 5,000.
Yeah.
Everyone wants a piece of you.
I forgot to keep count of that.
Yeah. Everyone wants a piece.
Mm-hmm.
But it really just pays off in free comedy shows, which would be free most of the time anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing the Lord's work.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Was the website popular immediately?
Do
you remember the first show you listed on it?
Oh wait, what was the? Do you
remember the first?
For the first show.
Did you remember hitting Nerd Melt and Post?
It would probably. So there's a show at 1739 Public House that's currently called Keep It Clean, and it used to be called, it's called Fringe now. It used to be called Keep It Clean. And it was always on a Monday at 10. I think that was probably one of the first shows. Like that, Tiger Lily, What's Up Tiger Lily, which was on Mondays as well, right before. I think that was probably some of the first shows, maybe French Toast, which was in, do you know how to pronounce that French restaurant in Echo Park? Tay or Tex?
Tex.
The owners say Tex, but I've never heard an X pronounced in French, ever. I think it's like they're trolling us.
Well, they pronounce it text. Tex. If you went to France, went to the same restaurant, it would be called Tay.
Yeah.
But it's in America, so it's called Tex.
Oh, like Los Feliz versus...
Gyro versus Gyro.
Or Philippe's and Felipe's.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Whatever. I'm going to call it Tay.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to be called...
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Kind of defeats the purpose if you have to follow it up with, that French restaurant on Sunset.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't really matter what the name is, because it's not.
Right.
You always give.
And yeah, it's such a rarity.
Like someone who you always say their first name and last name together.
Right. Anyways, there used to be a show there for a very long time on Sundays called French Toast. That was very fun. That was probably one of the first shows that I listed. So it wasn't instantly popular, but like the fact that I did it every day, like there was like a circle of comedians that I knew that like were immediately on board. And all of them were like, hey man, this is great. Let's see where you are in like 7 months. And like, I just still didn't stop doing it. And like slowly but surely, without really like bugging a bunch of people, i.e. like, I don't know, handing out like cards at shows or anything like that, kind of steadily grew over the years.
Because this is the only thing like it.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no. There was another website called Hey Good Set. Your competitor.
There's Hey Good Set. Before me, there was Chuckle Monkey. Bad Slap has been around. But there's not something, there's a thing called Comedy Cake now. I'm, like, friendly with the person that runs that. But, like, we all do it differently. And, like, no one's, I think, as all-encompassing as I am. And as up-to-date as I am.
I don't think anybody cares as much as you.
Yeah, I would.
The heart. Yours is the only website with heart.
Oh, thanks, man.
So you've had the Comedy Bureau for 7 years. By my calculations, how long have you had this fashion sense? Less time, about 5 years.
4 years, probably.
4 years.
Yeah.
So, do you feel like... you have a signature look, of this, project that you have,
right,
plus your own comedy.
Yeah.
Do you feel like they've all kind of influenced each other? Like, could the Comedy Bureau lasted 7 years if it didn't have, like, a flamboyant guy at its head?
Maybe. If that not flamboyant guy was still, like, just nose to the grindstone, like, stubborn hard worker, maybe.
But they always just think you were a nerd.
Yeah.
People see that long feather in your hat.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, he must know something that we don't.
I can't believe, like when I started dressing like this, so many random people would just ask me, like, where stuff was, like, on the street, which I thought was so weird.
They want to talk to you.
Yeah. Like, at parties where I don't know a bunch of people will just talk to me. And I didn't, like, make any movement or anything like that to, like, say hi or make even eye contact. People just, like, want to talk to the guy that has a 3-foot feather in his hat. So maybe it's unconsciously connected. Through doing the Bureau, I guess it's made me, like, really chase, like, what I really like doing. So I like, kind of imbuing my fashion sense in every sort of respect that I possibly can. I remember, like, I really love to dance, so I go, like, dancing, like, once or twice a week. And what's strange about that is, like, that's always kind of been around, but like, you know, when I was a kid, going through high school and college, like I would go dancing very, very sparingly. Like usually at a school function after like listening to like 20 songs, I'm like, okay, there's only 30 minutes left. I should like go dance now. But I always had a really great time whenever I actually ended up doing it. And then, I don't know, through some like misguided notion of like, oh man, if people see me dancing, that'll be just so dumb and I'll be so embarrassed, which is stupid, because if you were dancing on the dance floor at a thing that's supposed to be for dancing, if someone were to come up to you and say like, hey, Adam, you look stupid, they're wrong. They're so wrong. And I feel so sorry for them that they feel the need to do that and also not dance. But yeah, I about like 2-3 years ago, I just like heard about some random night, like probably Funky Soul or something like that, and I went. It was so fun. And I'm like, yeah, why did I not keep doing this? This is like, I really love doing it. So I just kind of rededicated. So yeah, I would say that the Bureau has led me down a path of like chasing all the things that I love.
Just letting it all hang out.
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
Well, what don't you let hang out?
I don't know. I'm a pretty open book, man.
I'm a pretty open book. No more information. That's always a funny when somebody says that and the information stops.
Because, I mean, it's so open-ended and vague. Right, like, I mean, what do you, like, all right, I guess I don't let my social security number hang out.
Oh, you can tell us.
No.
We got to keep the lights on here, after all. With that comedy bureau
you
money.
Want that endless amount of comedy bureau money?
You get you get like consulting stuff every once in a while, right? Like it throws you some. It gets your feet into the like professional entertainment world, right?
Yeah, I mean there are plenty of suits that know me, respect me. A lot of them rely on me in one way or the other, but I don't like those gigs are nice, but I never know when they're coming. It's not like, oh, around this time of year I can count on X, Y, and Z happening, and then I'll be able to, like, afford these things. I like that for that to happen more, and I could stop living at my parents' house.
Well, let's not go crazy.
I mean, yeah, I would actually kind of like to go crazy. I don't like living there.
Out in Downey, right?
Yeah. It's so funny that, so Downey, I don't know if you know this, Adam, has kind of become an epicenter for, like, fast food. So the world's oldest
operating McDonald's, yeah.
Yeah, and the first Taco Bell was actually in Downey. And
Lakewood, I thought.
Huh?
I thought it was in Lakewood.
No.
It's Downey, okay.
It was Downey, and for whatever reason, they sold it to another just like normal taco shop that was actually better. And then they bought the land back up, and I think they're going to build a thing that they're going to call Taco Bell 1.
Well, they moved the building.
They moved the building.
I went and watched it be moved.
Right. So that is Downey.
Yeah, okay.
And
the Bob's Big Boy.
Yeah, there's the Bob's Big Boy.
So you're not really making a case of why you'd want to move away from there.
No, I'm not saying. My point was that there are people that are like coming to Downey like, oh, Raising Cane's.
That's right.
Isn't this so great? I'm like, you haven't lived here. This is so the burbs. You have no idea. I like kind of hate that they're making it better. Like, don't give me a reason to like hang around here. I like having to leave because I can't stand. There's a Porto's there now. They had just added a Benihana, which is like, who the hell in Downey eats a Benihana?
I don't even know. Downey's a tiny bit affluent.
Well, the thing was, so that part of Los Angeles, what I've noticed is like it's all about social mobility. So people who live in Downey, they go hang out in Cerritos. People in Cerritos, they go hang out in Orange County. People who like live by the South Coast Plaza, they have like people that shop for them. They don't go anywhere. you know, as versus like, you know, people who live in Echo Park, Silver Lake, and Los Feliz, they love living in that neighborhood and not leaving. If you were to ask them, like, so where's the harbor in Los Angeles? Is like, we have a harbor? And the idea of saying San Pedro would probably like, what is a San Pedro? You know, that's how neighborhoody they are. But yeah, it's so suburban. Down all that Downey, Norwalk, La Habra, Santa Fe Springs, Whittier, which is actually not too far from here.
That's right. It'll be easy to drive home at least. After this, benefit of doing the show.
If I decide to go home,
Right, you might go see some more comedy shows.
Or go eat.
Yeah.
I if it's not midnight, I don't like going home. Yeah, I just.
Hey, so what is, other than moving out of Downey, what are your plans for the Comedy Bureau for the future? What's your hope
My
out of
hope?
doing all of this? Because 7 years is a long time to be doing something.
7 years is a long time. I would hope to be able to like sort of branch it out, like literally like have a branch in New York and other cities like Chicago, Portland, San Francisco, Atlanta, Nashville, so on and so forth. I mean, you know, so I can have a similar thing happen in those places like I've had happen here with my efforts. Now, I'm only one man and I can only do so much, so I would have to actually find people and to do it. And I mean, obviously, I don't expect them to be as crazy as I am, so I would like to pay them.
So you'd have to pay them.
So that would require just capital, and I have to get that before any of that happens. I'd also like to be able to like have the amount of money to where I can like go watch the Fringe Festival at Edinburgh, watch the Melbourne Comedy Festival, like, and be truly like a know-it-all in comedy. Because like, you know, there are New Yorkers that I don't know about because they never leave New York. Same with Chicago. There are some weird fringe acts out in Europe that I probably really dig, but they don't ever come out here, so unless somebody emails me something specific, like I probably won't ever hear about them. And I just don't like that.
So you've only, see, if I were you, I think I would probably be burned out on comedy.
I know, I'm really surprised.
But you
too.
want more.
Yeah.
International.
Yeah.
Well, I noticed on your website, you're on your way, you do have one sponsor, and it's for a career college.
Of what?
A career college.
A career college?
It's for like Concord Career College.
Is that
So that's kind of another service you're doing to the people who might be looking at open mics. You're kind of putting it there.
Well,
like,
so-
hey, you know, if this comedy thing doesn't work out.
That may be just for you, man. So the banner ads that are on there, that have actually been there for quite some time, it's either dedicated ad space for usually a comedy special, a comedy festival, tour, something related to comedy.
Allison Fitzgerald the first had an ad on there for a little bit, right?
Or it's Google Ad Space, which like is just going off of whatever you're searching. So are you searching for a bunch of career colleges now?
Not necessarily, yeah. I'm open to
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, those are just the banner ads that have been there. And if somebody, like, you know, Brian Regan's doing a tour, like, sometimes they'll buy out ad space for a time and then it'll be dedicated to that. But otherwise, it'll just, like, go off of what you've been searching. So when I visit the Bureau, I see a lot of shoe ads a lot.
long hat feathers.
If there was a hat feather store, yeah, that would be up there, yeah.
Well, you're covered on the bow ties.
I am covered on
So-
the bow ties. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Absolutely. man.
Thank you
Thanks
for doing the Comedy Bureau.
Thanks, Adam.
I have a look at it all the time, even if I'm not going to go to the open mic.
Yeah.
Nice to know what's out there.
Right. You
What
should,
I can do.
you should go to more shows.
Yeah.
They're fun.
okay, Yeah.
I know that you appreciate intention, but also sometimes intention is even better when it's rewarded with talent and skill.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
I can tell you from 7 years of watching comedy, 7 nights a week, that yeah, it's worthwhile.
Well, go check out some comedy, folks, now that the show is over. Thank you for tuning in. Until next week, This is Adam Papagan reminding you that there's a place you can go, and it's your mind.